On this week's UBC From Here, passing along knowledge to counterparts in Africa.
Most of our learning, we get the practical experience in clinical, and we focus a lot on the nurse-client relationship, whereas in Africa a lot of the teaching is focused on the kind of anatomy and physiology, so we wanted to bring that aspect of Canadian nursing education into Africa.
Taking some time for the community.
For me, it was more of like a why not? I live in Kelowna, I'm not going anywhere. I have a week off, and spending a day to give back to the community, it was a no-brainer for me.
And sharing information about smoking cessation.
And so we decided to start talking to fathers about their smoking and discovered that many of them actually were thinking about quitting.
Welcome to this week's UBC From Here. I'm Emmy Chahal, a third-year cultural studies student. When a pair of fourth-year nursing students had to decide on a year-end project, they chose to share the knowledge they'd acquired at UBC with nurses in Africa.
It's one thing to practice in the hospital, but it's another to take action outside of that and to move forward in your career with political action ideas. You know, this is a lot more community work with the sense that you have to be very self-directed in your learning and very motivated to bring a difference, whereas in the hospital it's very direct and immediate difference that you're bringing with going to work every day and taking care of people.
This year we had, for our political action project for fourth year nursing, my partner Caitlin and I chose to revise a handbook that we bring over to African nurses and distribute them as resources for their hospitals over there.
We wanted to have a project that we could follow through and actually see the difference that it makes throughout the world, and the fact that we're UBCO nursing students taking it to Zambia is pretty cool. So we just chose this project in order to reshape the book a little, just update it and make sure that it's a even better asset to the Zambian nurses than it was last year.
Most of our learning, we get the practical experience in clinical, and we focus a lot on the nurse-client relationship, whereas in Africa a lot of the teaching is focused on the kind of anatomy and physiology, so we wanted to bring that aspect of Canadian nursing education into Africa.
What we really wanted to do is have the handbook come to life. So our other major aspect of the project was creating teaching and learning resources. So we've created 2 different posters that we are having printed again to take over and have in the Zambian hospitals, Ghana as well, and India. And we are also in the process, pretty much complete, of creating case studies that we're going to take over so that they can practice their learning, a little bit of problem solving. And then the final part is we created an interactive workshop that we are hoping to conduct while we're over there.
The response has been really good, and like we said, we did the revision of the handbook, so there was about 150 brought over to Africa last year, and it was really, really well received, and we got some feedback from the students who went there last year, and so we used that information to revise the handbook and make it even more relevant for the African nurses over there.
Heading to Zambia, I don't have any expectations. It's going to be a great experience. I truly believe it. But I am trying not to create expectations because I just don't know what to expect, and I've heard it's a pretty crazy experience in general, just exciting. It's nerve-wracking.
So excited. I can't wait. It's going to be a culture shock for sure. We've only practiced within, a little 100-mile radius in BC here, so to practice nursing on the other side of the world is going to be incredible.
As people in a world of millions and millions and billions, to make one difference that we can actually take to a different country is pretty significant. It feels pretty good, and the response we get from our family and our friends who see us doing these projects and making something global is pretty exciting. The littlest difference can make a lot over there, so we decided that we wanted to try and make some sort of difference if we could.
As many students headed home or to the slopes during reading week, a group of students took some time to give back to their community.
It's really important for UBC, the Okanagan campus, of course, to connect with the Okanagan community. And it gives us an opportunity to give UBC students an opportunity to see what's out there in the community, connect with organizations who may provide opportunities for practicums or jobs down the line as well.
We were contacted by United Way. They have a program called Days of Caring, and they asked us if we would host a group of UBCO students on their reading week break, and we said absolutely, we would love to have them.
Last year I just saw a poster on campus, and for me it was more of like a why not? I live in Kelowna, I'm not going anywhere. I have a week off, and spending a day to give back to the community, it was a no-brainer for me. And the reason I came back is because of how great my experience was last year. So I've just, decided to come back and do it again.
A lot of our students are international students who aren't able to get home during reading week. And so it gives them a chance not only to get out involved in the community, understand what's happening in the community, get to know the community a bit better, but it also allows them to connect with each other. And that's one of the surprising outcomes that we've heard from the students is, yeah, we loved working with the cats at the SPCA, or we loved, connecting with seniors at the Mountain View Village. But what we really were surprised by is how much we enjoyed working with each other. And we have teams of up to 10 students connecting with each other.
I volunteer because I just want to get to know more about the community and try to give back for what I get from the university, and just try to get to know a lot more about what's going on outside of the university because I am new to Canada. I'm from Indonesia.
As a UBC student, it's really important for me to give back to the community. I've been living in Kelowna for 5 or 6 years now, so it's home for me, and it's I love making my home better in any way that I can. And for the international students as well who have adopted this home, it's great for them to be able to be involved in the community more than just the campus, to make Kelowna more than a place where they go to study. It's a place where they live, they give back, and they're more involved.
We obviously need donations and volunteers and shoppers, but for me the volunteer is the absolute most important aspect of the thrift shop. If they're not here, nothing gets put out. We have 90 volunteers at MCC. We have just a couple of paid staff, but if it wasn't for volunteers, you would not see any of this product here.
It's more mind-boggling than anything to realize how much effort goes into a thrift shop. Right now we're in the basement of the thrift shop, and there's a whole operation that goes on here before everything goes upstairs and is available to the public.
Last year was my first time volunteering in Kelowna, and so I learned a lot about what's going behind the scene of a thrift shop and a lot that's going on that other people can't see. So I really learned a lot about volunteerism and a lot about giving back to the community. That's what's motivating me to come back to volunteer again this year.
We've got a full community out there ourselves, 9,000, 10,000 people sitting out on the hill. It's really important that we get back out into the community. Many of these students are in engineering or management programs. It gives them a chance to connect with organizations who there may be opportunities to do practicums or community service learning programs later on. So it's a really good way to connect students and show them the opportunities. We've had students who've been hired by organizations to work once they've had a little bit of time getting to know the organization. Yesterday we had a student who did a project and contacted me last night saying, I'm going to be volunteering now for the rest of the week.
Hi, and welcome to UBC's Next Big Thing. I'm Rosemary Jean Thompson. My guest is Dr. Joan Batorov. She is the director of the Institute for Healthy Living and Chronic Disease Prevention. Welcome, glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about the Fathers That Smoke kind of project.
Well, we began several years ago looking at trying to find ways to support women's tobacco reduction during pregnancy and postpartum. And in the course of that research, we learned that many of their partners were smoking, which, as you can imagine, made it very difficult for them to reduce and stop smoking at that time. And so we decided to start talking to fathers about their smoking and discovered that many of them actually were thinking about quitting. As healthcare providers with young families like that, we're so focused on mothers and babies that we totally ignore fathers. They were there out on their own, thinking about stopping smoking, but not knowing quite how to do it. And so that's what launched this whole program of research that we've undertaken. We've talked with fathers about what might help them in terms of reducing and stopping smoking. As they have these new babies in their arms, they're reflecting on what kind of father they want to be. Most of them realize that a smoking dad is not the ideal dad. they really do begin to get motivated to reduce and stop smoking. And so because they really position themselves as fathers and not as smokers, we've called our program Dads in Gear, partly to really recognize fathering and the importance that it is. And also we learned that many men were realizing that their smoking was being frowned upon by others, and they were feeling stigmatized in many situations because of their smoking. And so we didn't want to include smoking in the title, and we wanted it to be a bit masculine. We thought this name Dads in Gear might actually capture men's curiosity and be acceptable to them.
So in a short period of time, can you describe the program and how fathers can get involved with it?
We've developed 3 different resources, all based with the input of fathers who smoke or have recently quit. We've really depended on their advice and assistance in developing these resources. So the first thing that we developed was a booklet called For the Right Time, for the Right Reasons. Dads talk to other dads about reducing and quitting smoking. And it's a motivational tool. And that booklet is being printed throughout BC and is available in most public health centers. We've also then developed an 8-week group program. And this is still in the development stages, but men told us they actually wanted to meet with other men face to face to help each other quit smoking. And so we did a pilot and developed the program, and the men responded very, very favorably to it. We thought, well, maybe we have something here. And so to begin to be able to launch it in several communities, we realized we needed to develop the resources we used in the group a bit more and make them more accessible. We did a bit more work and again engaged fathers and developed a website called Dads in Gear. We think that it could be a useful self-management resource for men who want to reduce and stop smoking on their own. But more importantly, we think it'll also be a useful resource for group programs once we have those launched in the community. If we could help fathers reduce and stop smoking at this early point in their life, we could prevent quite a large number of cancers, heart disease, and other chronic diseases that men often get. But we could also support women's tobacco reduction. We could provide more smoke-free homes for children. You know, by focusing on fathers, we actually can contribute to family health, I think, in a really important way.
Thank you for being here, Joan, and sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you next time on UBC's Next Big Thing.
That's it for this week's UBC From Here. For more stories from the Okanagan campus, visit ubco.tv. We'll leave you this week with some highlights from the athletic banquet. I'm Emmy Chahal. Thanks for watching.
It's another great year for us. We started off with a real positive vote from Canada West to allow men's and women's soccer in, so starting in the fall they'll join the Canada West competition. Basketball and volleyball continued to improve. Women's volleyball made another big step forward, making it to the championship round. Canada West, very close to making it to the CIS championships. Soccer did well, rugby came along and competed strongly, and golf did well again also. And how about that cross-country team?
And the 2014 Male Student Athlete of the Year is Will Deck.
Being recognized as Male Athlete of the Year is a great honor. I couldn't ask for much more. I played great all year, but what I really hope this does is solidify our program as a solid contender and really bring more people to the program and make our program stronger as a whole. We got a great group of guys and girls here, great group of alumni, and I hope that we can really build off this next year and take it all the way to nationals and hopefully come home with the national championship.
This is a pretty big thing for me. I mean, I was not even expecting to get nominated, and then to get the award is just huge. I mean, there's so many really great female athletes here and each contributing different things to their teams and stuff like that, and just to be recognized, it means a lot.